Okay, some of your homework problems that I want to go over. First one is we have negative square root of 400 x to the 32 y to the 40th. And of course, whenever we're dealing with this, we now have an even root, which means we might have the absolute value rule come into this particular problem. We'll figure it out as we did, but at least we can identify that first. We can say we could have it, it may work, it may not. So it really just depends. Okay, so first thing that I'm going to do is notice I have a negative on the outside. I'm going to leave that alone. I know that I have 400. I'm going to go ahead and break that down. That is 100 times 4, which is nice because now I know, because I didn't realize, and now I do, that that's 20 times 20. And so, you may not know that right away, so that's okay. So we have x to the 16th times x to the 16th. I have y to the 20th times y to the 20th. Now, why am I breaking them up in twos? Because my nth root is 2. Okay, so then I have negative, so then I have 10 times 2. Whoops, well, I was dumb. So let me correct that. I can start taking stuff out. That should be outside the square root. Of course, the square root of 100 is 10. The square root of 4 is 2. The square root, now notice here we have 2x to the 16th, so I just take out one of them. I have 2y to the 20th, so I just take out one of them. And so my answer would be negative 20 x to the 16th y to the 20th. Okay, now notice we don't have to apply the rule because you'll notice both powers on the variables come out to be even. So the rule is if this is even and these are odd, then I have to apply the absolute value rule. Okay, so next one. Here we have the fourth root of 81 times x minus 4 to the fourth. So, of course, I'm going to rewrite that. Now, I'm not going to go through all the steps that I've been doing before because I'm thinking and hoping that you're getting them at this point. So 81 is 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 3, so this 3 times 3 is 9. This 3 times 3 is 9. 9 times 9 is 81, so I know it's got to be breaking down as that. Okay, so then we still have x minus 4 to the fourth. I'm going to leave that alone. So I can take out 1, 3. Those go away. I look at this power divided by this power. 4 divided by 4 is 1. So I have x minus 4 to the first power. And because it's an odd power in the answer, I put the absolute values around it. Okay, so the next thing you need to be going through is through the check and take care of that. Okay. So now we're going to kind of introduce into the next spot, though, changing forms. And this is actually pretty straightforward. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to change from what is known as a radical form. So that's what this is right here. And we just want to put it in exponential form. So that would just be x to the 4 over 9. That's straightforward. This one, I want to go the other way, so I'm going to put it this way. So 7, it's the seventh root of x to the third power. That's straightforward, so don't have to do a whole lot of thinking on those in particular. And now what we want to do is we want to see, well, how do we rewrite this one? So this one's going to be 0.3 L to the 1/2, because remember that's a square root. There's an implied 2 there. And then we have n to the 2/3 power. And then we've got that one done. So now we've got that one taken care of. I'm just going to go through this one. I think that's 125. So let's go through that one, and we'll also go through the next one. We might actually be getting ready to close up here pretty soon, but let's go ahead and do those. So this has to be rewritten in radical form. Notice it's to the negative 4/3. So that's going to be a little bit different. So we're going to write it as 1 over 125 to the 4/3 power. We have to make that a positive power. Remember, if it's a negative power and it's in the numerator, it moves down to the denominator. And then in this case now I have 1 over the third root of 125 to the 4th power. Now, in this particular case, I actually have to simplify it because I can take something out. So notice if I have this number here greater than 1, I can take something out. Remember, we need 325s to take that out. So that's 1 over. So notice this is 125 times 125 times 125 times 125. I have 3 of them, so I can take out 1. And I'm left with cube root of 125. Now, 125 breaks down to 5 times 5 times 5 times 5. So in this case, of course, notice I have 4 of them. So actually, it's not that many 5s. It's 5 times 5 times 5. So we have 5 times 5 times 5. So I have 3 of them, so I can take 1 out. So I have 1 over 125 times 5. And then I can multiply those through. So that's going to equal 1 over 625. Okay, so that's going through and doing all the math and kind of figuring out how to get there. So notice it took a little while to kind of get there. These problems are not that easily straightforward, meaning even I don't see that this is 625 in my head. So don't feel bad if you think that these are a little bit longer than normal. Remember, when we're doing x squared times x cubed, that is x to the 5th, we just add the powers. We're going to do the same thing with these. We're going to add those powers. So we have x to the negative 1/8 plus 5/6. I need a common denominator because that's a fraction thing. So notice both of those numbers go into 24. So I have negative 3 over 24 because I multiplied top and bottom by 3. Plus, I'm going to multiply top and bottom by 4. So I have 20 over 24. So that is x to the 17 over 24. I can't reduce that. This is in exponential form. If they were to ask me to write it in radical form, it'd be the 24th root of x to the 17th power. And that's it. Then we do the last check, and we are just about done. I think we're actually, no, then we have some homework problems. So I'll do that in the next video.